Good morning, and I am back with talking about mental health and Black women this morning. Wanted to jump in a little bit more about the actual diagnoses that we actually deal with when we are, Black women, mental health, our status, what's going on with us. A lot of us are dealing with a lot of pressure. We are dealing with a lot of stress from many different areas of our life, and everyone kind of knows that I talk about physical, mental, financial, every part, our relationships, all of those areas are health areas that we need to be concerned about, and we need to be talking about, and we need to be having those good conversations about it. And like I said, I'm trying to have those conversations with my little cousins and little female cousins, and actually the male cousins as well, because I have a video talking about mental health and the Black male. So what I'm doing is trying to just incorporate that into our family life, and trying to change a little bit of our tradition where we talk about it instead of pushing it or brushing it under the rug. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about is just the simple one that comes along that we don't even realize is there, and we kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what to say we do with it. But depression. Depression is one of those ones that come along with many families, and added to that depression becomes some anxiety that comes along with it. So if it's just depression, a lot of times you're feeling sad, you're having moments, you have the crabby attitude and everything else, but it's something that's just not letting go of you. So it's something that is, yes, happening, and it's something that you're feeling, but it starts to be more than just a few days, couple of hours. It starts to go more into being more of a issue over a period of time. So when we're looking at depression, a lot of times when we are talking about, some of the depression, we're talking about things that have happened over a 3 to 6 months period. So to be actually diagnosed with depression is 6 months. So the other thing is anxiety. Same thing with anxiety. To be diagnosed with anxiety, over 6 months. Basically, when you're just having those moments where you just can't calm down, you can't figure out what's going on, and you don't feel like yourself. You might have crying spells. You might even deal with the fact that you're just, like I said, just crabby and just nasty to people. A lot of times I tell people, okay, with women, once you start getting to a certain age, mainly our teenage years, we have to start thinking about hormones. So we have to start thinking about hormones and how that affects us too. And we also got to think about, just wanting to be happy. So one of the things that I do work on with families, and I'm going to work it in my family system about this as well, is checking on the young ladies and the gentlemen as well. But speaking of the ladies today, checking with the young ladies and seeing if they're happy, and what would make them happy, and what are some things they want to talk about that they want to achieve, what kind of goals they got. So these are things that I feel is very important for me to start having conversations with my little young folks in my family, my young females, because it is, it's a major thing to think about, because we don't realize that depression and anxiety are actually two pretty well known normalcies that happens in life. Like, you have moments where you feel sad, and you have moments where it goes on for a while, especially if you lose a family member, you lose a mom, you lose a cousin, you lose a dad, you lose a sister or brother. When you lose a best friend, I lost a coworker. So but those things, it comes along with feeling sad. And I think being aware of that and understanding that it's okay to feel sad, but when it becomes too much and it's affecting how we do business, our everyday, and different things of that nature, we have to be mindful that we have to, get some additional help, additional support. Same thing with anxiety. When we're just feeling too edgy, too jittery, we can't focus on stuff, we can't get our head together, can't get right, kind of. I tell people that's when we have to start thinking about, getting some different assistance and help. And it might be definitely our mental health that's plaguing us at that time. But I'll also say, when we think about our mental health plaguing us, simple things can be done. Just talking with someone. And I always tell people, yes, I'm a mental health therapist, licensed and everything else, doctored up and everything else. But I tell people, having a person to talk to, having an outlet, that is a major thing. I grew up with it, but didn't really grow up with it. I grew up with it knowing I could talk to my grandma, but didn't talk to her until I was probably in my later 20s. Started being more of a, using her more of a support in that way. But again, every therapist, we talked about being a therapist, every therapist gotta have a therapist too. So in that case, if you want to talk to someone, talking to a family member, talking to a church member, talking to someone that's really close to you, or someone that you really trust for the most part, about some of these concerns, issues, and things that you have in place that you don't feel comfortable maybe telling mom and dad about, or maybe you don't feel comfortable telling your husband about, telling your sister about, or telling somebody else about, because some people do go into a situation where they feel like if they tell somebody about it, they might fail, and then they'll feel like that person looking at them that way. But having a conversation with no judgment with someone is a different conversation to have. So getting a therapist or talking to someone, a lay therapist or whatever, or a lay counselor or whatever the case may be, I always tell people that there's nothing wrong with that. Do that. And then the anxiety piece is just realizing that, there's a lot going on. You can talk that out too. I do talk therapy for depression and anxiety, and both of them seem to work pretty well with people who are really, really ready to work it and don't want to have medications involved. You don't have to have medications involved, but I always tell people, if you do feel like the talk therapy is not necessarily working, compound it a little bit with some medication management and see how it goes from there. There are very simple stuff out there that can be used for light depression. There's very simple things out there that can also be used for, light levels of anxiety, or even, heavier anxiety and things like that. But that's a conversation you'll have with your psychiatrist, and that's outside of my norm of my scope of practice. But I do know about it because I do have those experiences and those clients that do kind of compound the therapy and the medication management. But another thing too is to look at your lifestyle and create some changes in your lifestyle, doing some workouts, definitely getting some different ways of doing things in, eating different, eating well, focusing on that, journaling. A lot of people know I have my journals that are getting ready to, that have already hit the market, and people are ordering them, but they're journals that I have that focus on all of these areas. We have the daily inspirational journals. We have the focusing on your trauma type journals. We have the depression journal, combating depression, combating depression, and we have the journals regarding anxiety. So there'll be different types of journals that we have that can focus on different things that are happening for people, but even journaling about things. Really, another thing that I typically will do and tell people it's a good idea also to start thinking about is looking into making sure that you are doing things you enjoy. If it's learning something new, if it's enjoying because it's we're going to winter now, fall into winter now, looking at the trees, the colors, the changing of the trees and everything. Now they're kind of dropping off because it's getting colder, but still, just different things like that. Some people like, when it's summertime, like to go out to the beach and watch the sunrise and things of that nature. I do that. I'll go to the beach to see the sunrise and the sunset. I'll go to the beach to see the tides come in, the tides go out. Yes, I'm that weird. But those are things that really feel, it makes me feel closer to God, nature, makes me realize the simple things in life. So a lot of times when we're talking about anxiety, depression, we have to be mindful of things that take us back to a more simple time in life, and we have to put those things that are going on around us that's causing the anxiety and causing the depression. We have to put those things in a place where we understand that, if we can't control it, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. We have to figure out how to deal with ourselves and how to govern ourselves more. So this is just a little snippet talking to the topic of Black women and mental health, and just talking about our state of mental health and where we are and where we're going and things we can do to keep ourselves abreast and moving forward. All right. Thanks so much. Hope you come back and hear me for a few more videos that I'll do this morning, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much. Dr. Latasha McWing signing off.